Alright, Laura, this video is for you, and I want you to take a look at your body position and motion. Your motion is headed straight this way. Body position looks good to me. And now right here, you have a sudden rotation this way. You end up facing the wall over here when we really want the dog to go straight, and you're also putting out a very strong right arm. And so almost universally, when the handlers suddenly do this, they usually mean to do it as a send. They're taught to send this way. And a large percentage of dogs will just simply turn away from the handler in that spot. In this case, there happened to be the weave poles, so the dog was extra sure that that was the right thing to do. But even if there's no obstacle out there, dogs will just turn into space. So if I play this for you a couple of times, you'll see what I mean. This is called the hip check. We don't know if it's the arm, the motion. We used to call it, some people used to call it the butt shot. But if you take a look, it has the effect of sending the dog the wrong way. So ignore the dog. We're just looking at your body. So it's like you're thrusting your arm and right leg forward. You're putting a lot of weight on that forward motion there. You're combining it with that rotation, and they call it the hip check because like you're thrusting your right hip forward. Right hip forward. And so the dog is not going to read that to take a straight line. They just almost always turn away from you. So the answer, of course, is to not rotate like that. You want to handle this as if you were taking just some kind of a normal turn, and you're just going to hang back and let the dog get ahead of you. So you can create your distance that way. Your dog will probably take the tunnel just fine without this body language here. So usually that's a body language issue. Okay, the next thing was the blind cross. This is a really bad spot for a blind cross, and I'll tell you why. So once your dog goes in here and your dog is exiting right here. Okay, so your dog, and I'm not entirely sure your dog was even looking at you, which is problem number one. When there's an off-course obstacle this close to the tunnel, I almost never choose to be far away from my dog. And because you're choosing to layer a jump, you're by definition far away from your dog. So that's problem number one. Anytime there's something really close to the tunnel, I prefer to be at the tunnel exit. Okay, so let's say that's not an issue, or I don't have a choice, and I can't be by the tunnel exit. You know, I need to be far away, like you are. Okay, well, then I could choose to layer exactly as you've done, but I would do a front cross. So if I did a front cross, as the dog came here, I would be turning this way, and that would bring the dog in toward me. But because you're doing a blind cross, 100% of your motion is headed this way. You can see that you're in pure acceleration here. You turn to try and pick up your dog, but you're not all the way turned, right? You're doing the best you can, which is good. The arm's extended, but so is this arm. So both arms are extended. You're looking over your shoulder, but you can't actually see your dog. Again, related to being far away. And right here, you can see your dog is at the exit. So this is the picture that your dog sees. We have ambiguous arms. You are looking over the correct end, and all of your motion is this way. So I would say, you know, you have one dominant cue that says, come take this jump. You have an ambiguous set of arms here, ambiguous arms, and then you have another dominant set of cues, your motion, pushing the dog toward the obstacle that's closest to the tunnel. So just from pure setup, I think, you know, that's 2 out of 3, 2, 3, and 1. I'm sorry, 1, 3, and 1. One factor to come to the correct jump, 2 factors to take the wrong jump, and 1 factor that's a tie. Because you see your dog looks, there's a look. So he's looking at you and he's deciding, well, what are we doing here? I see the 2 arms, I see your head, but you know what? Ambiguous arms with the motion, because you can see your dog looks at you. And then it's like, no, I'm taking that jump. So I think a front cross here eliminates that. You can choose not to layer, and then I think the blind cross becomes a better decision, but is still inferior to the front cross here. It's just not a good blind cross spot. You can do it, but it doesn't make too much sense to do it here. Yeah, so as I watch it, those are my thoughts. Just too much motion in this direction. If you're handling near the tunnel exit, as the dog exits, now you can generate a lot of motion this way, right? And that'll solve your problem. But because you're choosing to layer, you are moving across the face of this jump before you're heading in your new direction. If you were by the tunnel, as the dog exits, all of your motion would be this way. And your dog, as he exits, look, let's do this. Here your dog is coming out. Let's put a timer on it. So this is 6/10 of a second to get from there to there for you, or for the dog. Okay. So 6/10. Now where is your motion? Your motion is both this way and a little bit this way. Right? So if we add up the vectors, it's kind of like that. So, you know, I don't think the dog is wrong to go off course there. So this is one of those handling spots that I think you definitely want to use. A front cross, and you just need to be aware that if you're going to layer, you need to be on this side and headed this way as the dog is exiting, and you're not doing that. So the solution would be, as the dog goes into the tunnel, you need to be further back. Yeah, and you're just not. So here, as the dog comes in, you need to be standing probably over here, hanging back a good 1.5 yards back further. And I think that would fix that up. All right, so if you have questions about that, let me know.